Oh man, it is tough watching England at the moment. Very, very difficult. Um, I also realize I think how important England having success and playing well and getting the result is for me compared to say supporting a club side um is the big difference. But it is not a fun one. Just my own personal opinion. Each and every time England play, I know for a fact we're never going to be more than 1-0 down. So it'll always be, we'll be 1-0 down or 2-1 down at any given point, or we'll be drawing, or we'll be one goal ahead. I don't see any, in major tournaments, I don't see any, under Gareth Southgate, I don't see any future where England lead by more than a goal or where we are losing by more than a goal. Now, you might take some positives from that, but what it means in terms of the fan experience is it's anxiety for 90 to 130 minutes, basically. Um, and that's difficult. That's a difficult one to swallow with the caliber of squad and the players that we have at the moment. I've got a couple of points I just want to hit on and just kind of vomit out to you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree. I don't think I'm making any particularly hot takes here or anything like that. But I would love if anything I am saying you disagree with or agree with. I would love to know your thoughts. Please like and subscribe as well if you're not. Um, so first of all, I just want to have the conversation. Performance versus results, right? So, first of all, I totally understand the camp of people that says, well, we've been in a European final. We've made it to semi-finals of World Cups. We're in another European semi-final. We haven't done that since blah, 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 right? So, results speak for themselves. And I think that's totally fair and understandable. And there's a certain level of argument to say that actually, if you're the most boring team in the tournament, but you actually win the whole thing, do people even remember the way you played? Or do they just remember Harry Kane lifting the trophy, right? Gareth Southgate lifting the trophy, if that's what comes to pass. Now, I would argue that with the caliber of players that we have, we should be having those results, but we should be a bit more convincing in getting those results. Now, you might think, well, Jack, come on now. This is international football. We've not just seen England struggle against a lot of these teams. We've seen some of the bigger teams as well struggle against some smaller teams who, again, defend in a low block and defend well and don't make mistakes and profit from either breaks or set pieces. And I totally understand that. Um, I find it very difficult to square away completely results driven purely because at any given time, this England team in its current iteration under Gareth Southgate has played against a half decent team. And I'm not trying to be rude to these teams, but I'm thinking of Italy, I'm thinking of Croatia. These are not world beaters. These are not world beaters with multiple stars above their national emblem, but they are half decent. They're worse than England, but you can give them a certain level of respect. Anytime we've come up against a team of this nature, we lose. We don't get destroyed. Again, it's that fine margin thing of we'll lose by a goal or we'll lose on penalties or we'll lose in extra time. That's a concern for me. I don't like that. Colombia, it took penalties, if my memory serves me correctly. It's Colombia. I'm not going too crazy. Okay, I don't even recall if James Rodriguez was playing. Yerry Mina, right? I believe Colombian centre back who was I think in good form at the time and a half decent player. And they had some danger and some threat, but not compared to the England team. Croatia again, always blessed with a fantastic midfield. They always have fantastic midfielders, usually one or two really good defenders in there, and pretty good striker play, and actually some pretty good wing play over the years as well. But it doesn't compare to England. Italy, when they won the Euros, it was one of the kind of most underperforming, I think, in recent memory for Italian teams. You look at the names and you kind of go, oof, compared to the names of the past, I'm not too overwhelmed with what we're seeing here. And again, the moment that, and that was at Wembley, by the way. And we come up against that kind of thing, and you go, oh, we've lost to a team that's probably inferior on our home patch that aren't quite prime level Spain, prime level France, prime level Germany, Argentina, Brazil, etc., etc. So performance versus results, I find a very, very difficult conversation to have because yeah, we've gotten the results, but I'd ask you any team where you'd go, oh man, I can't believe we were the better we were the better team and we beat a really good kind of equal level team. You know, Vegas had us kind of, we didn't know who was going to come out on top, and maybe we weren't even favorites, not by much, but we weren't even favorites in that game. It doesn't really happen. Um, you know, going out to France anyway, let's look at. I mean, I guess I've already touched on that second bit. The history of the results are. I'm looking at our route to a lot of these finals and these latter stages of the tournaments. Not super impressed. We've had the easier draw more often than not. Now, there's a certain level of tactics to that. I don't know if we're doing that on purpose. And I think any pro would go, oh, we don't pay attention to that. We don't look at that. I know that data analysts will look at that, coaches will look at that, and anybody in sort of the technical department will be looking at that kind of thing because, again, looking at the data improves your chances quite significantly if you don't have to go the route of Spain, Germany, France, and Portugal. Um, Moving on to the actual team itself, square pegs, round holes. You know the old conversation. I mentioned this to James in our most recent England video. Um, to me, bringing one left fullback who hasn't played football since February, who only came on to play for 15, 20 minutes, maybe more, in the quarterfinals, is insane to me. And listen, Kieran Trippier can play left back, fine. Kyle Walker can play left back, fine. Bukayo Saka can play left back, fine. Okay, no issue. But Alfie Doughty had a great season. Now, I have no doubt somebody in the comments is going to go, he's actually Irish or Scottish or whatever. And actually, he might be, but I'm pretty sure he's English. Um, who else do I think of? Somebody like Ben Chilwell. Again, I know the form's not there, but we actually would have a left fullback who plays left fullback. I think that would be of some interest. I think Rico Henry's another name that comes to mind. I'm forgetting somebody. Tyrick Mitchell, again, probably deserves a shout. If you want to give a chance to somebody, I know fullbacks have become very important in the modern game, but I think a younger fullback, or somebody in an inexperienced position, at least it's not kind of central midfield or centre back or goalkeeper where you're kind of worried that if they don't go very well. So to me, the lack of fullbacks being brought on the left side has been a major issue, and we saw it. We saw it when Luke Shaw came on. He's right out on that touchline. He's pulling players wide. He's demanding some attention and a bit of respect. Gives more space for the midfield. Allows Bellingham to operate. Allows Foden to operate if he was on. Mainly to operate. Rice to operate with more space, which just makes their job easier. And by him being so wide, the passing lane down the line of the pitch, the winger has to also match that and be dragged over. So now you're dragging at least two players over from the opposition, probably a right fullback and a right winger or a right midfielder are being dragged over. And maybe, especially if you're worried about somebody like a Phil Foden, maybe that's being doubled up with one of the midfielders coming over to help or one of the centre backs being dragged over to help, creating so much more space in other areas of the pitch. I think we saw that very, very briefly as well. And again, I hope he maybe starts the next game because I think we'll see a completely different team. Um, yeah, Bellingham and again, guys, I'm really down on Phil Foden. I'm sorry. In a Man City kit, yeah, he's in my fantasy team. I'll probably make him captain. He's probably going to get my triple captain chip and all this kind of good stuff, right? Of course he is, because again, it's custom built for him to have success. It's all he knows. I've not seen him perform outside of that system and outside of Pep Guardiola holding his hand. The goals and assists return is not good. I think he's played a season. I think he's played 38 games, maybe 39 or 40 now games for England in his career. I think it's 4 goals, 8 assists or something. It's not a good return. England are always the better team in these international matches. This is not Man City where, man, sometimes you have to come against a Liverpool, an Arsenal, a Villa, a Newcastle, a Man United, a Chelsea, a Spurs, blah, 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 all these kinds of teams where, oh man, it's kind of challenging as you go. England will play, you know, San Marino or Ukraine or some teams that are far below our level. So we should be dominating these teams much more than Man City dominate in the Premier League because the level difference is much greater. So to me, it's a huge underperforming player, and he should be on the bench, and he should come on if we're losing a game as a spark who can get on the half turn, who can play little 1-2s and get around and try and get us a goal. But in terms of a starting 11, I don't think Phil Foden should start for England. I'm now kind of confirmed in that thought process at this point, the way it currently is. I feel so bad for Anthony Gordon. Again, you know, one thing that I think may get me a little bit of criticism on here is going to be talking about. I like when players don't execute something they're trying to do well, as long as it shows that they're trying to be positive in terms of their play. Anthony Gordon's cameo performance in the group stages, I can't even remember who it was against. It might have been Denmark. I can't remember. He came on the left hand side. I think it was about 10 minutes left to go. He faked going long for the fullback. So he put the fullback, turned the fullback's hips to run back to try and cover him, put his foot in the ground, came back to the ball to get it, receive it off. I think it was Trippier at the time. Received the ball off Trippier to feet. He turned and he tried to knock it past the fullback, who he just kind of sent back and sent forward to then try and get on the end of his knock. Now, angle of the hit wasn't good. Ball went out for a throw. But as far as I'm concerned, that is a winger coming on, showing intent. I think against now I think it's coming back to me. I think against Slovenia, actually, it might have been, where it was 37-year-old fullback who I think plays in the second division in Germany in the Bundesliga 2. That to me shows intent, and that's what I like. Any player, I like it when Kobe Mainoo does it and he travels with the ball and tries to beat people. If you get tackled, it's fine. As long as you're not in a position where there's going to be a break and a mistake that leads to an opportunity. You have to take risks to win games. Because if not, all we're going to have is this anxiety-inducing, by 1 goal margin, never beating teams in 90 minutes, and then sometimes relying on penalties, which, God forbid, given our history, we do. Ezri Konsa looked really good. I was really impressed with him. Again, I think Kobe Mainoo is fantastic. Kai Saka cuts in. I'm pretty sure that Gareth Southgate's been asking him to keep as much width as he can to allow more space in midfield, but he cuts in, wraps his foot around the ball, perfectly placed shot, and scores us the all-important equalising goal. Again, classic England. We go down and then we start playing, and within 5 minutes we score a goal. Go figure. I still think Declan Rice hides. I don't think Harry Kane should start for this England team anymore. I think the game's to a certain extent passed him by, maybe at international level, and I think he's gotten far too comfortable with what he's been asked to do at Bayern Munich with all those buzzing bees around him. Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry, Jamal Musiala, and so on and so forth, of these high energy players who can create things for him, and then he can get half a yard and get his shot away and be on the end of tap ins, crosses, and the like. Yeah, those are just my thoughts on the team and how he's played. What should happen versus what will happen? Okay, I've kind of touched on that a little bit already. I think by some of my comments earlier. I think Luke Shaw has to play. And as frustrating as that might be for people to hear because he's not played since February, he's a left fullback and he would dramatically change how this team plays. When you play Luke Shaw at left fullback, you don't have to have somebody like Anthony Gordon at left wing, because you don't necessarily need him to stay out wide and try and beat a man, because Luke Shaw can do that and provide a bit of width and a bit of overlap and all that kind of stuff. You can maybe play somebody like a Foden or somebody who likes to cut inside from the left hand side there. Luke Shaw allows you to do that. I think Cole Palmer needs to find his way into this team. I don't know if Bukayo Saka needs to play on the left or Palmer needs to play on the left. Bellingham in at 10, and then obviously one of the other wingers. I think the three behind the striker needs to be Palmer, Saka, and Bellingham, personally. I think Luke Shaw makes a huge difference. Yeah, Kane, I don't want in the team anymore. Again, I don't strictly trust Rice, but I think Kobe Mainoo has been great in there. I think you just need somebody to support him. But England don't really have any half decent number sixes going on, and that's a huge, huge problem. I also don't know who that's going to be coming through. I mean, if Adam Wharton can go from strength to strength, has a really good season again at Palace next year, then gets a big move to one of the top six teams or somewhere in Europe, then maybe that's our answer. And we've got a Wharton Mainoo double pivot for going forward for a while. And maybe we play three and we don't play with a 10. And then it's Wharton at 6, Mainoo and Rice as kind of 8s. And then, the attacking three can move off of that. Maybe we start playing with a false 9, God forbid. Who'd have thought that in England? What will happen though is going to be the exact same. It's going to be business as usual. I think the Dutch team's greatest strength is actually their physicality, their speed, their strength, their size. I think that's what's the most beneficial for them. Cody Gakpo is a great example of that. A really good athlete who can occasionally finish really well. Daniel Marlin, again, similar kind of thing, really good athlete who's got a little bit, a little bit about him. Um, Defensively, again, very, very experienced, very, very solid. Midfield, again, workmanlike, but enough technical ability in there. This is not the Van der Vaart era. This is not the Robin era. This is not, I mean, Robin's obviously an insane athlete, but this is not that kind of fear factor. They're gonna be able to out physical, out athlete you. That England can match up with that. I guarantee you on Wednesday it's business as usual. We'll go down by a goal. We'll go up by a goal. It'll be 0-0. We'll equalize, or the other team will equalize. We'll go to extra time. Maybe somebody gets lucky, takes an opportunity in that last 30, but then it'll be penalties again. That's what will happen. And again, it's fine. But we're so much better than this Dutch team. But here's the pattern I notice, and the thing I'm most fearful of. We're much, much better than Switzerland. Much, much better, to a point where you go, okay, I'm not going to bring up Iceland, but okay, we should be beating them. I'd put them in the Slovenia, Slovakia, Denmark, Serbia kind of realms. Most of those teams, by the way, except for Serbia, we've not been able to beat in 90 minutes. It's been it's been a draw. We've only beaten one team, I think, in 90 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Concerning. Holland have history, have pedigree, have a very, very good tactically, I think, a very, very good coach. I actually don't know how good of a coach Ronald Koeman actually is, but tactically, I think he's very astute and knows what he's doing. And I think this will be a tough game. And if we lose, I'll put this down to the Italy, the Croatia kind of team where I go, I mean, they're okay, but I think England is so much better. I don't understand. To me, Cole Palmer's Premier League Player of the Year. That's the best player in the Premier League sorted. Is Harry Kane maybe the best player in Germany? Well, I mean, his statistics would say so, especially in a really struggling kind of Bayern Munich team who didn't even win the league. And then you got Jude Bellingham, who's on course potentially for a Ballon d'Or. I don't know whether he deserves it. I mean, we'll see how the rest of this competition goes. But Vinicius Junior and Brazil are out of the Copa America. It's going to do some damage to him. So we might have a Ballon d'Or winner and the best player in the world, best player in Spain, best player in the Premier League, best player in Germany. I don't know. I'm comparing that to somebody like Cody Gakpo, who barely starts for Liverpool. And again, Liverpool are a great team, but doesn't really start for Liverpool. A couple of other players knocking around in there. Stefan de Vrij, I mean, really solid, incredible experience. Van Dijk's obviously an all-star, of course. Fullback's fine, but we're not seeing massive use of somebody like not Dumfries. Who am I thinking of? Frimpong, Jeremy Frimpong, who absolutely tore it up in the Bundesliga and the Europa League. Van der Ven, who I think is a top 10 centre back in world football, doesn't start. Matthijs de Ligt, young kind of superstar who's kind of fallen away after his move to Bayern Munich, doesn't, I think, even start for Bayern Munich now. I'm not blown away by the talent. And you look at what we're offering and what we have to put out there, we should be comfortably beating this team, but we won't. We won't. And then the final bit, because I've been super negative and downbeat, I just wanted to get my thoughts off my chest here. Does it even matter? Does it even matter? Is it too late in the process for this to be kind of addressed and thought about and all this kind of stuff? Yeah, I think it is. Um, I think that if Gareth Southgate wins the Euros, he will be granted a chance at trying to replicate the Euro success at the World Cup in America. Um, yeah, I don't know if he'll want to do it. I think he'll look at Jude Bellingham, who'll be 23, Phil Foden, who'll also be 24, maybe. Kobbie Mainoo, who will be 20. Adam Wharton, who'll be 21. My point being, Trent will be older. There'll be a couple of players who are really kind of getting into their stride a bit more. Bukayo Saka still young. Maybe it's Ollie Watkins. Maybe it's Ivan Toney. Maybe a different forward kind of rears their head from breaking out as a teenager. I think at centre back, Gahey has looked great. I think we do have options coming through at fullback as well. Pickford's still going to be there and still going to be game. Gareth Southgate might look at the fact that the starting 11 may not change too dramatically and think, oh, I can have a go here. I think if he loses, though, he's gone. So as far as I'm concerned, if we don't win the Euros, whether it's one game left or two, Gareth Southgate's gone. If we win the Euros, all of his decisions and everything that I've said totally get blown away. What are you talking about? You've won the Euros in your lifetime. You've won the. I'm 29. You won the Euros. Not bad. I think what it goes back to again, and it's a much broader kind of philosophical conversation, I guess, about the sport is why do we watch it? Why do we play it? And all this kind of stuff. Um, I like watching it again for the enjoyment, for the storylines, for the excitement. It's why I like high pressing, all action football. It's why the kind of Pep Guardiolas of the world, the possession based bods in the world, and all these kinds of people. I really think they suck the fun out of football. I like take ons. You know, I'd much sooner watch Ronaldinho run at people and lose the ball 10 times in a game, and hit a rainbow flick or a flip flap over somebody and go, "Oh my god!" That's why I'm watching the game. So if England scrape through against Holland and scrape through against France or Spain, right? Um, cool, great. I'm going to be thrilled. There'll be a video, me and James, and I might even be crying. I'll be absolutely delighted. And maybe I'll forget all the things that I've said and some frustrations about the performances and how actually badly I think England are playing and how actually it's kind of embarrassing with the run of games that England have had in major tournaments, how lucky we've been that we've not benefited more from it or played better with the talent we have at our disposal. But like most football fans, maybe I'm going to be a massive, massive hypocrite. And maybe I'm going to go, oh, I don't care. We won. I don't care. But yeah, does it matter now? Is it too late? Yeah, it doesn't matter, and it's too late. Wednesday will be stressful. Wednesday will be horrible. I'm actually going to be at home, so I may even go live. I may even go live to watch it with James. Um, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Entitled English fan, unhappy that his team are in the semi-finals of the Euros might be your opinion. And I again hard to disagree with you. Or maybe you've listened to what I've had to say and actually like, yeah, you know what, you're kind of right. And it is depressing, it is frustrating. So a lot of negativity, but let's end on a positive. I have total faith in us going into a penalty shootout now. Never seen an England a better English penalty shootout in my life. Disappointed with Jan Sommer. I thought he could have done better, and he's a fantastic goalkeeper, a really good goalkeeper. Again, if you're offering me for my club, do I want Jan Sommer or do I want Pickford? It's a pretty good conversation to have. That's how, I think he's unbelievable. Really good at penalties. And again, just gonna say this, Kai Saka, it came off his heel. It went into the side netting, but it wasn't a clean hit. It wasn't a confident penalty like the other four. So I do worry at crunch time, does that come back to bite him? Because all the other guys, fantastic. Saka had me worried. Guys, let me know what you think. Sorry, it's been super negative. But drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit a like. I'll try to get to all the comments and respond. Any other concerns or kind of questions or things that you think I might have missed, please let me know. And yeah, going into the Holland game, what I'd like to see, Pickford. I'd probably like to see Walker because I am a bit worried about that Dutch left-hand side. Stones, Gahey, Luke Shaw, Mainu, Rice, Palmer on the left, Bellingham, Saka, and then I'd like to see Ivan Toney start. Still in a 4-2-3-1. But we will see what happens. Please drop a like if you've liked this very negative video. Hit subscribe if you would like to see more, and James and I will get back to you shortly. See ya.